And as you see there, an empty Howard University now, and probably a lot of disappointed supporters at this point. But, you know, we're all now looking for, or at least the Harris campaign is looking for the blue wall to happen for her. As Micah has also been saying, you know, this is really narrowed when you look at the electoral map and is giving Trump quite the advantage at this point.
No Democrat has won the White House without winning Pennsylvania since 1948. It is on a razor's edge there tonight, too close to call, and likely won't be called, certainly not tonight.
You know, Micah, it's possible that it will. I mean, right now, Pennsylvania is at 90% reporting, and Donald Trump has 51.2% of the vote. Probably not, but it's not impossible. You know, we'll see. But, I mean, look, right now, as Samantha indicated, Donald Trump has lots of options in front of him, and Kamala Harris really doesn't.
Harris had a wonderful ground game in Pennsylvania. Reva, you were on the ground across the battlegrounds in the closing weeks of this campaign. Talk about the message and the turnout that you saw there certainly for the rallies in the 222nd corridor in the suburbs of Philadelphia, where there's been a big turnout tonight.
Yeah, we saw it with our very own eyes, turning out tens of thousands of people at rallies, not just in Philadelphia, but across the state. Big rallies in Pittsburgh and other parts of the state, and lots of excitement and enthusiasm amongst voters in the state of Pennsylvania. So we're surprised at the numbers as they're coming in, given what I witnessed, given the organizers that I've talked to and been talking to throughout the evening about Philadelphia. There's still some hope that the state will break for the vice president, but clearly there were expectations that she would have done better at this point in the game in the state of Pennsylvania.
In 2020, Biden won Pennsylvania by just 81,000 votes, and that was also a very late result as well. So we could expect the same thing to happen. No outlet is calling it, even if they're saying that 90% of the precincts have reported. I mean, it obviously is still too close to call at this point, but it really does matter as part of her path to 270. She needs that, and she needs Michigan, and she needs Wisconsin. And so when we look at, you know, places like Michigan and like Dearborn, for example, where there's a big Muslim and Arab community, that could be worrisome for the Harris campaign, because they tend to want to shy away from the Biden administration, and obviously she's part of that, you know, because of their involvement in Gaza and in Lebanon. And so that could be the tipping point where it could go Republican. Is that something that her camp is worried about?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a concern even when Joe Biden was the candidate. We saw during the primaries there was this huge uncommitted vote coming out of Michigan. But what we've seen over the last couple of months since Kamala Harris has been the candidate, many of those voters deciding that she was the better alternative. And although they didn't necessarily agree with the policies under Joe Biden, they recognized that Donald Trump and his close relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu was not the best alternative. And because the Muslim ban that was implemented in the very early stages of his last administration, there was a lot of concern amongst Muslim voters in the state of Michigan about what another Trump candidacy would be. Will be interesting to see how those voters break. There was a split in many of those groups in terms of some saying they weren't going to vote at all for the presidential candidate, some saying they were going to vote for a third-party candidate, and others saying they were going to vote for Kamala Harris because they saw her as a better alternative.
Still watching Pennsylvania tonight.
I have two quick observations. Donald Trump leads in all three blue wall states right now. He's ahead in every single one of them. And the second point is that what Cedric Richmond did tonight is very reminiscent of what Tony Podesta came out and did in New York City in 2016 for Hillary Clinton. Very reminiscent.
Yeah, and the question, why didn't Kamala Harris come out? Well, but again, the vote is still being counted. Remember, it was the Saturday after Election Day in Pennsylvania before we heard Joe Biden declared as the winner. The process is long. The mail-in ballots, they take several minutes to process each. And I know they have better equipment and better staffing and 4 years of lessons learned. They believe it'll shave a day or two off the timeline as opposed to necessarily determining a winner tonight. So,
well, clearly the race isn't over.
Yep.
I mean, obviously Donald Trump has every right to be encouraged about the results as they've come in, but we've all been cautioned because of what we've seen historically to be patient with the votes as they come in, and we'll see what happens. And I think Kamala Harris had every right not to come out and speak tonight. Obviously, she wants to have more information when she does address the voters. And as Cedric Richmond said, she'll do so tomorrow. So we will hear from the vice president.
Yeah, we will. Of course, there's so many other races that are on the ballot, just the top of the ticket. This election also deciding who will control the House and the Senate. Thank you, by the way, Matt and Deriva.